Hello, I'm John from the Haunt Informer,
And I'm Glenn from Fall Ritual.
and this is episode 34 of Fall Informer. And today we have the crew from Curley's Haunt. Say hi, guys.
How's it
Hi,
going?
how are you?
Great. Thank you for being on.
Yeah,
Of
of course.
course. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
And I'm Nick. Nice to meet you guys.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
I'm Tommy, owner, and then these are my two partners for it.
Of course, and I'm Adam.
Nice. Curley.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having us on here.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
They,
Yeah, of course.
they even have their own setup behind them.
Yeah.
This is like the working facade of the haunt behind us.
Yeah,
The rough.
we've already put up the main structure. That's what we've been working on for the last month. So finally get into the finishing touches of that part of it.
Nice, nice, nice. So I'll start out with the questions. So my first question for you is, you've been doing this for a while. You've actually been doing this over a decade, like 12 years now. And I'm curious, what have been some of your favorite scenes you've created over all those years?
So personally, when we started doing like the actual walkthroughs, because normally it was just like a main like scene in my front yard or in my garage or something like that. When we started doing the walkthroughs and started getting in depth with the scenes and could really like get creative, we had the one last year, which was just like one of my absolute favorites.
Crazy.
Basically, it was real simple, just like an open square room with a singular light, like a flickering like Edison bulb right in the center. And then we used a hazer to fill up the room, and it created an effect basically where there was just like this one light, and it didn't reach too far, so there was like this light drop off, real into the corners of the room, and we had an actor in there. My friend Cameron, he's like 6'5", he's a real big dude.
Nice.
Which is always great for an actor to be tall. But anyway, it allowed him to hide in the corners of the room really easily. And it was just a really cool effect. It sort of made a feeling like you were just like out in the middle of nowhere. You didn't exactly know what was around you, and he could see you because you were right. You were like he was like taking the bait right in the light right there. So I just thought that was really good because you just felt very vulnerable.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites. I don't know if you guys
That's a great
really
one.
think.
Yeah, I mean last year was the first year that we like really scaled up and we're like we want to like this is something that we can really do and sort of pursue and make this into something that we do every single year for years to come, and like really kind of bring it to the community like an actual haunt rather than just like trick-or-treaters walking by just kind of going through it. So sort of creating that idea, because last year was also the first year that we started doing it like planning it months and months in advance. So we
Okay.
planned the room out months and months in advance. We designed it, and for it to sort of like for us to build it and see it work, and people were coming and saying like how crazy good it was. That was sort of one of the reasons I think, to me personally, that was one of the best scenes, just because we were able to design it and then bring it to life exactly how we sort of envisioned it.
Nice.
Now I have to go back like way, way, way back to like I think the first year that I actually ended up doing the haunted house with Tommy. I can't remember what year it was, to be honest with you, but it was barely a walkthrough. We kind of just went through a side yard, and we had this junkyard like kind of scene where it's like trash cans, a huge ladder, and I'd stand on top of the ladder, and I was young, I didn't care, so I would just jump down in front of these people, and I was like a little like 5-foot kid, but like still when you see that, like I don't know, I just jumped right in front of them, and that weight, the noise and everything, it got people so good, and it was just such a fun thing to do. It was one of my favorites, I swear.
Yeah, throw it back.
Nice.
Awesome. So what got you guys into haunts? And obviously you guys can answer that
You can answer that.
individually.
Yeah.
Both of
So-
us got in because of him. So
Okay.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I've always been a fan of horror, watching horror movies growing up. Like I can still remember the first time I saw Halloween. That scarred me, but it also, I mean, definitely is part of why I do the haunt now, why I started doing it. Just love Halloween. Decided trick-or-treating wasn't my thing anymore one year, and just decided I would scare people in my front yard. And then, I mean, just growing from there, like I always envisioned from that first year of switching it up, doing a whole walkthrough and seeing what I could sort of create. I also attest it to sort of like my artistic side. I love drawing, creating things, and sort of blending that with horror. This is sort of produces, and yeah, this is sort of what it led to.
Yeah, I mean, even off of him, I was never really into the haunt or the horror. We became friends about 6 years ago now. And when he told me he did the haunted house, I'm like, that's different. Like, you don't really hear people going into the haunted house industry. It's a very small community. And I knew nothing about it, but sort of piggybacking off of that creative side, it's like, you can create these scenes and these designs and have immediate like feedback from these people, whether it's scary or not. Yes. And to sort of be able to sit back and create something that in your mind's like, I think that this would be really scary for people, and then to put it into play, that's sort of what kind of drew me towards it, as far as just like that creative side of trying to play with people's emotions and the way that they see something in a room and an environment.
Nice.
And I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember the conversation that me and you had about what got me to give up the trick-or-treating side of Halloween to go scare people. Because I was young. I had been like 9 years old when I joined him. And, you know, I think it was Field of Screams that really made me like, first time he took me to Field of Screams, I couldn't go through. Like they took me out of the asylum because I just couldn't. I was like having a panic attack, and I was like, there's no way. They're like I want to make people feel that way. Like I want to inflict that onto somebody.
Oh,
so
geez.
I mean, since then it's been like it's like I need to do this. And it pushes me every year to see who I'm going to get. So
That's nice. So my next question for you is, this definitely stood out to me with your marketing. I saw that you have the Boogeyman mask from CFX. How do you find out about the company CFX, and why do you choose that particular mask?
So I would say, I mean, I always was interested in going to like Trans World, going to all the vendors and really seeing what was out there in the industry, what people were using, seeing just like what was new and upcoming. I remember CFX sort of catching my eye as far as like the realism of their mask, the movement, the creativity, and the Boogeyman was always my favorite. So we purchased that mask last year, and it being like our first big purchase for the haunted house, sort of having like our main scene surrounded around that mask, I felt like it was just fitting. Definitely an eye-catching design, which is, you know, all props to everyone at CFX for that. It was, yeah.
I mean, and even one of the things too is we sat back, like I said, the last year was the first year that we wanted to really scale things up and try and make it bigger. And like I said, I'm not as familiar to the haunt industry as like Tommy is. So I sort of went to him and was like, what's one really big professional prop that we could sort of get that we can use year after year, is a guaranteed scare, or at least a guaranteed, like we can, like you said, like we marketed off of that. Yes. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of animatronics that you can use. There's a lot of different aspects, but having a mask of that magnitude and that level is something that we can like build a whole main room off of. We could build flyers off of. We can sort of market it that during some of the off times that we were having, he was outside taking pictures with people. So nice. That's sort of what drew us. And then that Boogeyman mask was just, it's universal. Like it's not too much. It's not too little. It's sort of enough where it's like, it catches somebody's eye enough where it's like, what is that? I feel like that's sort of what drew us towards that, because they have so many crazy masks there. And I mean, we probably looked at every single mask at least twice before we decided that Boogeyman mask, but we knew every single mask on that website.
Oh, man.
We talk a lot with haunt owners and stuff, and a lot of them said they started out doing home haunts. Basically, what you guys are doing what is your goal with the Curley's Haunt? Are you wanting to get like this full on, like something like a huge scale? Like, what's your goal with the Curley's haunt?
Oh,
I think that and our we have a 5-year plan, we have a 10-year plan. Ultimately, we want to get big. Delaware, there's not a lot of haunted houses here. That's one of the benefits that we have as well. It's not like Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania has like the second or third most haunted houses out in the entire country per state,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
Delaware
wild.
not even on that list. So just and they're so close, and we are right on that line. That if we can sort of create something here, there's a lot of opportunity. We have a name because Tommy's been doing this for so long. But meeting the guys from Terra Labs, they've sort of also helped propel us in the sense of being able to see how far we can go in a short amount of time, and having their help with being able to create a bigger, better haunt, sort of understand the community, get connected with other people. Because, like I said before, the haunt community is small, so kind of getting connected in there. We've met some great people that have taught us a lot. Every single person we've talked to, we've learned something from. So I just think that this is a very, as far as a plan for the Curly's haunt, I just think that we can become Delaware's haunted house. Like, we can become the Delaware haunt within 10 years. I mean, that's sort of our goal.
yeah, and
Nice.
Adam said it pretty well. As far as like a long-term goal, just to touch on like a goal for this year per se would be, be able to raise $5,000 for breast cancer research, as a short-term goal as well. Just right off the bat, that would be another one to add in there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Cool.
So you guys do like a charity thing too, then, like you.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, we've always, what sort of started us out too was in 2018. So I met Tommy in 2017, and in 2018, he decided to do the haunt at the pool. And that's when he sort of asked for my help because it became a little bit of a bigger project. So I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And being able to see that. But we started seeing like people were coming to the haunt. Like we were having a lot more people than we thought we would because we just did this for fun, the trick or treating. And then once we sort of saw like there was some money coming into there, we were like, because we were just giving it to the pool. So then we went to the pool on the last day on Halloween and we were like, we want to try and like give this to charity. And they were like, that's great. So we sort of went right into there and we were like, well, it's October, last day of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Lynn's Sage Foundation is a fantastic foundation. So we were just like, whatever money we raise, let's have a goal and try and get there. And then some time passes. That was 2018. 2019, we were like, let's try and see it. And then obviously COVID hit, so that we were going to try and start scaling stuff up. But COVID hit and sort of put that on the back burner. And then last year, we were like, with the amount that we were able to make without even like trying, we could probably raise, like last year's goal was $1,000 and we raised $1,500. So we sort of are realizing that we can do a lot of good for this as well as have fun.
Yes. Nice. So another question I have for you, I think this is more of a fun question. What have been your personal best scares you've gotten during haunting? For all of you.
Yeah.
Nick is the guy for that one.
So there was one year we had the haunted house actually go through Tommy's actual house.
Okay.
It went through his garage, into his hallway, into his laundry room, then out his back door.
Okay.
And I was playing like a doctor in this like in his laundry room, and his laundry room had this like big like buzzer, and so like I'll like go out and I'll like ring in, it'll make this loud noise. It was awesome. And like this like mother and father and their son like started walking through, and I'm like in this little like closet, and I can see like those lines. I can see them like right in front of the closet door. So I jump out, I scream, and the girl just like cocks back her fists and just launches it at me. And her son is sitting there just laughing. And I'm like, I don't know, I was probably 13, 14 at the time. And I just caught like a right hook. Like, and I couldn't even be mad because I was like, I did my job. This girl was completely fully startled. I couldn't. Yeah, exactly. Like, so I mean, that's gotta be my favorite just because like I don't think I've actually like, that was probably the most scared I made somebody fully actually try to hurt me. To believe, especially a 13, 14-year-old kid who's like,
yeah, you know, to be able to have to punch a 13, 14-year-old kid, you gotta be
scared. Like,
Oh my gosh.
So I was running through a few in my mind, but there's one that sort of stands out. We did more of like a haunted trail, like an outdoor trail at my house for a few years. Like back behind my backyard, there's like a little wooded area, and it's
Nice.
basically a pre-cut trail that we used, which was great. So we used that for a few years, and one year there was like this little opening in the back area. There's like my backyard's here, and here's like the woods. You come out into like this little opening, and there's like these tree branches that sort of create like a dome almost around you, and it's really cool looking. We had a dead body hanging sort of like right in the middle of like this circular opening that you come to.
Okay.
And if you stood behind the body, you could perfectly fit behind it, and no one would know you're there. It just looks like a hanging body from a tree. It just that looks like all it is. And I used that to my advantage. One year there was a group of girls going through, and I remember just stepping out from behind the body because it's the last thing they expected, and they just all just like it was like a stampede, just right by me. Like I was like, you're supposed to be running the other way, if anything. And I remember I just heard screaming, crying. One poor girl was in tears. I had to go find her hat that she had lost. It was pretty memorable because like sort of I had to like come out of character. The operation sort of came to a halt for a second. So that's one just really memorable one off the top of my head. But
Nice.
that was a good one. Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm not the scare. I'm more of the person, the behind the scenes kind of guy. But I mean,
Okay.
I'm the one that hears all the
some
scares.
experience.
Yeah, I helped the guys at Terra Labs out, where I was standing behind the counter in like right after the first scene that they have. I would jump out and scare a bunch of people, and I mean, any type of jump scare is always going to get some type of reaction for the most part. So that's the most experience I've sort of got.
Nice.
Where did the name come from? Where did the Curly's Haunt name? How'd you come up with that name?
That's just my last name, so it's always just sort of that's what it's been known for, and you know we've never really thought to change it. We could always like play off of it. It's like the Curly's Haunt presents whatever the name will be. This year, our name, our working name is Hysteria, pretty much. It sort of goes with our theme and our story that we're sort of trying to tell around the haunt. So yeah, but that's all that is my last name. It works.
Because sometimes we hear backstories from haunters and they're like, oh yeah, we thought of this, a whole bunch of different names and things. So yeah.
No, yeah, it's just the last name. He sat back and tried to think about it too. It's just because he's been here for so long. So many people know it as the Curly's Haunt. So when you have that type of following with this community, because he's been doing it in the neighborhood, so the whole neighborhood knows it, it's hard to sort of switch that up.
Yeah. So when you're creating the Curly's Haunt every year, how many ideas do you think you go through to get to the final plans?
So we start planning pretty much January. So
Okay.
we'll start down thinking of stuff. This year we just are always thinking, and then we all work together as well, like our day jobs. So I'll go into his office and be like, I just thought of this idea. What if we did this? And then he's like, oh, well, we could do that with this. And then that's sort of how this gets created by like one idea. And then I'll throw something out there. And then Tommy will throw something out there. And then we'll create something and we'll throw it out to Nick. And then Nick will come back and say something else. And then so we have a lot of different ideas that are all leading up to the one thing generally. That's probably the best way I would say that we come up with these things.
Yeah, it's just like getting good at pulling the best aspects of all of these ideas, because it's not just us three. We work really close with my younger brother, who's got a big hand in the haunt, as well as his friend Anthony, who's here almost every day. So we try to take all of these ideas and just bring all the best aspects together.
See what works. What doesn't.
And then pretty much see what the end product will be.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
So when do you think you normally start building for the year? So when you start thinking of ideas and January, when do you think you actually start building for the year?
So, I mean, it really depends on the scale of the haunt. Like we said, last year we scaled up a ton, and we actually got way too late of a start to the point where we were sort of rushing by the end. We started, what was it, like the second week of September, I
Yeah,
think?
the first, just the like, yeah, September or something.
Yeah. And this year we started all the way back in July. We started on this officially, just because we knew what everything was going to entail. We're just doing so much more this year. So yeah, we started in July this year. It's official construction.
We wish we could start earlier, but there's limitations to using a house.
All right.
How many actors do you usually have throughout the haunt?
Varies.
Yeah.
It's more or less the availability. One of the things also, because we are scaling up, is that we're creating more days. Last year I think we're open for 4 days or 5 days, but one of the days rained out. So we are able to find whoever is available. There's obviously some of the people that are just consistent, like us, Anthony, Sean, like some of the just people that help us work with the haunt. But a lot of it varies from every day. But we try to also make a haunt that can use a certain amount of actors. Like, we know that we'll always have 7 or 8 actors, so we need to have 7 or 8 actor spots. But we also try to create a haunt that if we do have an influx of actors, it's not hard at all to throw them in other places. Like last year we had on Halloween night, we had I think like 14 or 15 actors, and every other night before that we only had like 8 or 7. So we had a lot more actors, and we were able to have and put them in a bunch of spots that worked really, really well, just because we sort of created some openings behind doors or openings behind some walls. And this year we're sort of kind of doing that again, where we have some spots and some hideouts that anybody, even if you've never sort of acted before, we can just throw you in there, because a lot of people don't have the opportunity. Like, it's like nobody's ever come up to us and said, hey, do you want to act in a haunted house? So we have a lot of really good feedback with people trying to do this that have never acted before. So we're trying to figure out ways that we can just throw them in there and still have very effective scares. And that's one of the things, like, where I was working at Terra Labs and I was able to just jump up and scare people. It's very easy. I've never done anything like that before, but I was getting a scare almost every single time. So, and it was a lot of fun. And that's sort of one of the ideas that we've had while creating this haunt as well.
Yeah, and I'd say, as far as like a number, baseline, every night you should expect about 10 actors in here for this year, if not more. And we're always looking for more people.
I like that you said you're building it so you can have more people. It's not just limited. I like that.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome that you guys get like a solid 10, where it's like, I know these big haunts are like struggling to get haunts, and it's like you guys got like a good core of people who do that, you know.
We're very fortunate to know the people we do, and to have everyone willing to come and help out and dress up and help, you know, everyone. It's not just acting, it's managing and making sure everything runs smooth. Like, everyone really that we know comes and just gives their all, which is something we're very, very fortunate to have.
And being young helps. I mean, we are still, like, a lot of our friends, they don't have full-time jobs. They're in college. He has a younger brother that's a senior in high school. So, like, we sort of have a few more years where we sort of can have a lot more of those influx of actors, because they have less responsibilities. But that is one thing that we are thinking about actively, as far as we get bigger and as we grow, and our friends also grow and move and stuff, that we're going to have some of those actors problems. So we're trying to solve how we can, like, building for having an influx of actors, kind of figuring that stuff out now, so that way later down the road we sort of have that under our belt.
That's good. Nice. So I want to combine both these because I'm curious. Do you have any animatronics in your haunt, or are you mainly actor centric?
Mainly actors and static props. We've deliberated on getting animatronics in the past. It's not something that we're closed off to whatsoever. Okay. But right now it's mainly actors and static props as far as that goes.
Okay. Now I'm curious, what are your biggest inspirations every year? You guys always told me you have lots of fun ideas every year, but where do you get your most inspiration?
I mean, I can start off and just say there's two home haunts that I used to watch on YouTube every day when I was like getting into the haunt industry, and I'd say Perdition Home out in California and Halloween Hellmouth. Those two, I love the design, the detail, like the overall construction they would really put into their haunted house, and it just every year just blew me away of what they could really do with just a driveway and a bunch of lumber. Like, so I think that's one of my biggest like inspirations is definitely them.
For sure. For me, and I could definitely say the same as Nick. I mean, we used to be obsessed, you know, just going on YouTube, seeing what other people were doing. For me, I'm a big movie guy, so I watch movies and TV shows, anything, whenever I can. So a lot of my ideas come from there. I like to pull different stuff from just things I see. You know, just gives me fresh ideas that way.
Okay.
Yeah, movies. Movies are very big inspiration.
Okay.
You guys just said that, you know, you watch YouTube, you watch these home haunts on YouTube, how to do you guys do that? Do you guys like post videos on YouTube and like what you got with the progress, what you guys doing, how you built it, you know, stuff like that to give other people inspiration?
So we haven't done that in the past, but this year we've actually been documenting the progress heavily. So I do plan on releasing, if not a series of videos, maybe like one video that just shows you just like beginning to end how everything went. Just because there's been so many learning curves and everything for us this year. To see it all come together and to have that documented, even just for ourselves, just to like, you know, see what we did in 2022 is great. But no, there will definitely be something that I'll post more on like social media as far as like Instagram goes, Facebook, probably that would showcase our progress.
But
For sure.
I do think that in the future, even creating like a docu series on us building a haunt would be something that we would think about. It's something that we've talked about a lot. It's just the timing, and we always kind of get distracted building the haunt, and then we're like, oh well, we should film. But it's something that we definitely want to start doing it like a docu series, like after the haunt's done, to keep sort of engagement with the haunt, because I mean, a lot of people, and we get a ton of questions, as you would imagine,
Yes.
our haunt, like how long did it take you guys to build this, like what like a ton of questions, especially when they know build it. So that's one of the things that we're definitely going to want to try and incorporate like in the years to come, and like after the haunt's done, start releasing some of these videos that people can go watch and sort of learn more about the process of what we created.
Yeah. I always enjoy seeing how people run haunted houses because everybody does it differently. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
nice. All right. So I wanted to ask you, this is my final question. For 2022, what is going to be your overarching theme, if there is one? And will there still be a boogeyman character this year?
I mean, so the theme is sort of the hysteria. The theme is going to sort of incorporate like insects.
Okay.
I don't want to give away too much, but it's sort of like a hysteria of like insects. There's going to be like a running theme throughout the entire haunt. And I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah, we're tying together a few different themes this year. As
Okay.
far as it goes, like basically we're dipping into like some stuff that you wouldn't normally see. So like me personally, I wanted to bring in like a conspiracy theory type of feel.
Okay.
Like, okay, there's something going on that's not normal.
Mhm.
What there's going to be people telling you it's this, but what is really going on here? And I want to create that feeling throughout the haunted house. I want people to question what's really going on and pay attention to the details. There's going to be a lot of very small details that I want people to really look for and draw their own conclusions on what's going on. And there will be a boogeyman.
Yeah, I was going to say, the answer to your question, it won't be used, I think, like definitely not how we used it last year. I don't think it'll be used sort of how you would be thinking that we're we're really trying to figure out something different. We're trying to, and that's one of the main things that we also focus on every year is that we want it to be a whole different haunt, and with a whole different theme every year and try and create something new. So we're definitely going to try and incorporate that boogeyman mask a little bit differently this year.
Nice. That definitely should freak people out because they don't like bugs.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
And that conspiracy theory, that's interesting to me. Like, cause that paranoia, like you said, hysteria. That would definitely cause it. So
Yep.
that's
That's
interesting.
awesome. I've never heard of anyone doing something like that. So,
And
man,
that's really interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
no,
sounds awesome.
it's going to open up a lot of doors for creativity, especially like with what we're able to play with. Because in conspiracy theories, it's sort of like
They're alive and well.
everything. Yeah, you can draw any kind of idea and make it a conspiracy theory. So yeah, it allows us to reach very far. And yeah.
Nice. Do you have any last questions, Glenn?
Yeah, of course. What are your top 3 haunts that you would love to check out?
Okay, I'll go. Top 3. So I always wanted to look at Dead Acres in Ohio. I know I've seen videos of that haunt. There's not a lot out there about it, which sort of intrigues me, like as far as like media goes. And from the videos that I've seen, it looks so intense. Lots of blood and gore and strobes, and that's sort of what attracts me to it. Like sensory overload kind of haunts. That's sort of like right up my alley. So that's one I would love to check out. I mean, I've been there before, but going to Penhurst is always fun because it's so unique that just the asylum and knowing the history behind it and everything, it's just incredible what's out there, just being there.
Yes.
As far as a third one goes, I'm gonna have to think. What are you thinking?
See, now, I know in order from 3 to 1, I'd have to say 13th floor. And I'm brain farting on the haunted house. Is it Tennessee? The one that was in the movie, The House is October Built.
I don't think that's a real haunted house.
No, there is a real haunted house. It's called No.
That's the one in that movie.
That's gonna irritate me now. But we'll skip
exists.
over that. Yeah. The last one I'd have to say, and controversially, I'd love to see if I can attempt to go through McCamey Manor. I would love to. I know that's like
You're a psycho.
Yeah, he's our guy.
I know it's like it would be the craziest challenge of my entire life, but I mean that's just something that's on that bucket list. It's like, all right, how crazy can we get?
Oh, geez.
I mean, I'm pretty simple. I mean, I haven't been to a lot of haunted houses. They dragged me out to my first haunted house, Field of Screams, last year, and then we went to Terra Labs. So I mean, Eastern State is something that I want to check out because I mean they've sort of talked about their experiences with that. Penhurst is another one. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of like a newbie when it comes to all these haunted houses, so I'm down for whatever, other than the McCaney Man, because I do know about that one. And then I also want to see whatever Terra Labs comes out with, whenever the next year or this year, whenever they decide to go back into the haunt. Definitely, I'm excited for that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Your nightmares are brought to life.
Yeah.
Nightmares are brought to life.
All right. So do you have any final thoughts to tell everybody about your upcoming season, when you open, different things like that?
Right now, we're still thinking about opening dates. We're definitely going to be open the weekend before Halloween and the weekend of Halloween. Halloween's on a Monday, so we'll be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday that weekend. We
Okay.
are thinking about opening up maybe 10 days, like maybe a Thursday, but that's all tentative still.
Okay.
We should have all of that sort of out middle of September, like the posters and sort of that theme of the hysteria. We'll kind of create that. But this year, the one thing that I would want everybody to know is that if you came to the haunt last year, this is a whole different beast. This is more than even twice or 3 times the size. This is something that we didn't think would be possible. And it's just becoming more and more of an actual thing. And that's why I get so excited, because I'm like, we were making this, we're like, if we can make this, this will be crazy. But I mean, we'll see what we can do, and we made exactly what we wanted. I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting to see because this is going to be good. This is going to be really good.
Exactly. I think we're all getting tired of each one of us just sitting there being like stopping and just saying, "This is crazy."
That's
is
that's
insane.
been, that's been the theme for us. The theme has just been, "This is crazy. I can't believe we're doing this."
And they said it best. Just be ready. It's going to be super fun time.
Absolutely.
More scares, obviously. It's just everything's amped up. So we're very, very excited.
Yeah, be ready.
Yes. And tell everybody where you can find you on social media.
Right. So Instagram, we are 302 Frights. So just the numbers 302 and then Frights. And then on Facebook, we're just the Curley's Haunt, Curley, right behind us. Yep. So that's where you can find us on Instagram and Facebook.
Nice, nice, nice. So I have been John from the Haunt Informer.
And I'm Glenn from Fall Ritual.
This was episode 34 of Fall Informer. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you
And
so much for having us.
definitely until next time, happy hauntings. Cool.
Absolutely.
Happy hauntings.
Happy awnings.